Hey, welcome back everybody. Clayton Daniels here, talking to you about important things in life and youth sports, right? For those of you joining in today for the first time, again, I'm Clayton Daniels from Iowa, Southern Iowa, born and raised. Went on to play at Indian Hills Community College, and then on at the University of Northern Iowa, and then we kind of short story got back here, and then had children, began in the youth sport coaching, and saw that need that we just needed to fill the gap for information being put out to coaches. At least in the more rural areas, and even the metro. I've seen it too. Is that sometimes we get people that just don't have the background that are doing it because they want to help out, which is very noble. But they're just looking for an outlet somewhere where they can go to get some information. So hopefully we can provide some of that, and also we're here for the players because a lot of what we try to cover here pertains to the mental side too for the players that people aren't talking about. So we're trying to get this information out just to let everybody know that the facades and the fronts are coming down. We're just getting real. Okay, we're just getting real about the game. I think that's extremely important, right? In today's world where everything is filtered and watered down and protected and everything else, right? Let's just be honest. Let's kick it out there and let's just get real about it. So, hey, this is the journey, right? I hope you continue to follow us along with us. Follow along on the journey. Follow us on Instagram, on Snapchat, and here on YouTube, and everywhere else we're going to go with this. Okay, we're going to push this out. We're going to blow this out. We got tons of great interviews we're going to get to do. Okay, I'm extremely excited about the quality of the interviews we're going to get. Okay, and I think you guys are going to find it extremely helpful, the information we're going to push out, because in today's world there is tons of information, right? There is no lack of information, or I shouldn't say no lack of material being thrown everywhere, right? Everybody's putting their spin on things and kicking this out, right? All this is new, this is that, this is because it's everywhere. So how do you filter through that, right? So we're hopefully going to be your filter to give you this is what you need to do, this is the basic stuff, this is help you guys out along the way. Okay, we're not here to reinvent the wheel. We're not here to spin off and sell you something out of this deal. This is truly a calling I feel that come upon myself to just pass this information along. Okay, I just think it's going to help out not just the youth sports. I think it's going to help our youth and eventually our society as they grow older with the lessons we're able to teach here. So and kind of got long-winded in the beginning here, but we're going to jump into part 3. Today is part 3 of our 3 things we focus on in youth sports, especially in the very, very beginning. Okay, if you were with us in part 1, if you weren't, you need to go look at that up. Okay, we focused on effort, right? Effort and attitude, right? We can control those 2 things every day out. In baseball, softball, all sports, there's a lot of variables that we can't control. But we can control our effort and our attitude, and so we need to focus on those and teach kids how that they can focus on those, right? Because that is in their control. Okay, they all grow at different speeds. They develop at different speeds, different size. They come in all different sizes, shapes, everything, right? But they can all control their effort and their attitude. So, we want to focus on that. If you missed that part 1, go back, watch that. Part 2, we talked about the anxiety, right? I think that's and we're really going to dive into that. On the journey of the show, we're really going to give you the look, the aspect, the mindset, just the part nobody wants to talk about, right? There's fundamentals. There's styles, techniques, everything out there from, no step and hitting to huge leg kick to spin. You can argue all day with different types of technique in the game, okay? But I really feel like we're just really dropping the ball. I'll talk about that mental side of it just how to deal with failure, how to deal with success, and things in between, and just how to prepare, right? I mean, we're preparing in sports, but really we're learning how to prepare for life. So part 2 was anxiety, right? And just talking to your players about that and what's normal, letting them know it's normal. I mean, you can't believe the relief on your players' faces, and just, I mean, you just see it in their body, right? Whenever you talk to them, say, yeah, I know what you're feeling, that's normal, okay? Let them know it's normal, all right? And if you personally didn't play, you're coaching now, you personally didn't play, talk to somebody that did, and get their perspective on it. Let them kind of guide you along, right? I mean, that's a good question. I mean, that's a good piece of advice for anything. Know what you don't know, right? If you don't know something, it's okay, right? We all don't know everything. I don't know everything, okay? And if I feel like there's an area that I'm not 100% comfortable with, or just somebody knows it better than me, I'm not afraid to reach out to my connections and say, hey, can you come in and talk about this, right? That's okay. That doesn't make you less of a coach. That actually makes you a better coach, because, you're actually getting your kids a better information than what you can give. And that's okay, right? I mean, I think that's a sign of a much better coach than somebody just trying to buffalo everybody, trying to pretend you know it. Because eventually you're going to be found out, right? I mean, the only people you're fooling are the ones that really don't know anything. When you finally get around people that know the game, yeah, you're just going to look like a fool. So, reach out to those people, and many of those people that have played and have that knowledge of a certain, aspect of a game are more than happy to get back into it and give back, because there were people that gave to them before, and so they're excited to actually give back to the game. Okay, it may be something they've kind of been away from the game for a while, and you just see their eyes light up too. So, part 2 was anxiety, like I said, and watch part 2 of the journey for that. All right. The third thing we're going to touch on today, all right, is fundamentals. I really feel like, especially in the beginning, but I mean throughout the whole process, fundamentals, we've got to hammer that constantly, okay? Because without the fundamentals, the game you just can't play it. I mean, I think in today's society, and I'm not for sure where it's coming from yet. I mean, I understand a little bit that we're all, everybody, like I said, wants their kid to be the best they can be, and we see that, everybody's playing these games, and we assume that just because you play games, it's going to make us better players. When in reality, you have to be able to do certain things, certain basics, to get to the point where we can have a very successful game, so to say. How are this is an example here. We jump into these games. I mean, how are you gonna teach cutoffs, right? Relays, bunt defenses, pickoffs. How are you going to cover that if you didn't properly teach them how to throw and catch, right? How are you going to teach that, if they're not in the right position or have their body in the right position when the ball goes into play? You're just setting them up for failure. And then as coaches, our job is to prepare our kids for, to put them in the best possible situation for success we can. So, we got to shift that mindset off of playing games. It's really about focusing on the fundamentals, because guess what the big leaguers do every day? They take ground balls, they play catch. They're hitting off of a tee of some kind, or they're taking batting practice off of something that's not 100 mile an hour, not 90 mile an hour, not curveballs, right? They're doing very basic things. They're just extremely good at them. Okay, so we've got to get extremely good at the fundamentals, and you're going to see an exponential growth. And we're not going to see it, right? In sports, we're not going to see that huge jump. You may see a little here and there, but you may take somebody that has no idea and teach them a little something. But for the most part, it's really small, okay, improvements day after day. But if we stack those things up, over days, months, years, you see a huge improvement in a kid, right? So focus on the very basic stuff, right? Focus. Okay, and they're going to fail. Okay, I mean, this one drives me crazy, right? Who's been there where, you know, whoever's yelling at the kid that's pitching, throw a strike, and then you get everybody, throw a strike. Do you think he doesn't want to throw, or she doesn't want to throw a strike? I mean, do you think they're out there trying to throw a ball? You know, if you don't have some type of improvement for them to do, okay, you're not helping them out, because they already want to throw a strike as bad as you want them to throw a strike. I mean, they're the one out there feeling humiliated because they're struggling for their control, right? Or get ahead, or don't swing at a bad pitch. Like, don't be filling their head full of stuff, okay? That's a big thing. All right, so, and failure, right? I mean, that's going to happen, especially if we're actually playing to where your competition level should be. You're going to fail, okay? And that's part of it. And talk to them, but we have to be doing things right, because just people in general, humans in general, we revert back to our training, right? So if we're jumping out here playing games before we actually really comprehend, our body just kind of understands what it's supposed to do because we practiced it thousands of times, okay, we're going to revert back to some really bad habits, and it's not going to do us any good to jump in and be playing games, right? So, you know, coaches, parents, focus on the basics. Playing catch is essential. Taking ground balls is essential, okay? Hitting off of a tee is essential. All that stuff, we have to do it all the time, okay? And you've got to get very good at it. Very good at it. You know, so on the fundamental side of things, right? You know, how do we pick out somebody to look at, right? Look at somebody who's gone before and then see the result. Have they been coaching somebody before? Okay, what do those kids look like? Is that what I want my kid to look like? I mean, you know, talk to some people in the know. Some people that have been around the game, those are the people you want to talk to. Okay, that's kind of how you're able to decipher some of the information that's going to come along. Okay, so hitting, right? What are some examples of some basic fundamentals when we hit? Okay. At a young age, right? Technique, like I said, we can differ on technique all day long. But the most basic form of it, especially when you're first starting out, okay, you're getting your kid and you don't want to confuse them with all kinds of information. You can't talk to them like they're 18 years old or 15 years old, right? You can't do it. Keep it basic, right? What do we do? Okay, let's start in a balanced, you know, stance. Let's start whatever you want to term it. Something, keep it simple, whatever they understand. And as you're explaining this to them, watch their reaction to you to see if they're getting it, right? If they look more confused the more you talk, you need to change how you're trying to explain it so they get it. Find something in their life they can relate to, okay, and relate it to that. And then watch the light bulbs go off, and then proceed, right? But in hitting, if we start with a balanced stance, okay, we load, right? And sometimes that isn't, in the beginning, it's really not that important. We try to do a little bit, but okay, we start in a balanced position, and then we just try to get the barrel on the ball. It's, you know, on a pretty consistent basis, right? Let them, you know, we're not trying to do uphill, downhill, you know, backspin. No, we're good stance. Try to put the barrel on the ball, okay? And then the finish balance. Okay, if we start balance, put the barrel on the ball, and finish balance, that's a pretty good starting point. Okay, let's get good at that, and then we'll move on to something else. Okay, we get into a little more technical as they get a little older, but that's a pretty good starting point. Okay, fielding. Okay, talk to them about pre-pitch movement, moving because it makes us more ready. Okay, but then what do we want to do? Balls, we want the weight on the balls of our feet, right? Toes, balls of our feet, we're moving around. Okay, as a ground ball comes, we want to get in front of the ball, right? We're not, in the very beginning, we're not trying to backhand, we're not trying to, you know, make the, you know, ESPN web gems and plays the night, right? That's not what we're after. In the beginning, we want to really work to get around the ball, center the ball in the middle of our chest, right? You know, and then work through the ball and be ready, be working through the ball to throw the base where we're going to be throwing the ball to. Okay? Very basic stuff. You know, throwing. Take the throwing motion and break it down into steps. Okay? And that's going to give them more confidence if, you know, they're close distance and we're not trying to fire it in the beginning. It's just a firm a nice arm action, right, and break it down into steps that puts them in the right positions at different points in the throw. Okay. So, like I say, this show, eventually we'll get into some fundamental stuff as far as technique. But there's so much of that stuff out there, I really want to dive into the other stuff that we're just not even touching. Okay, like I said, the mental side and that, but those are some really basic things. We got to be able to put a barrel of the bat on and be balanced, right? We have to be able to field the ball, right, and be balanced. It's a lot of just being balanced, right, and being athletic. Putting yourself in good positions, right, and then our break the throwing program down so that they have a nice motion and their proper technique, right? Because we don't care about, I hate to say we don't care about winning, but winning is nowhere near as important as doing the fundamentals. Because when you start getting recruited by college coaches and pro scouts, they don't have a win-loss record for your 12U team or your 13U team or your 8U team. They don't care. They truly do not care what you did when you were 8. All right? So, really, really break it. I don't know how everybody wants this shiny, fast, sweet, awesome, secret sauce. Okay? Are you ready? Here it is. Be very good at the most basic principles of the sport you're playing. That's the secret. And do them over and over and over and over. Over and over and over, all the time, every day, all the time. Okay, that's the secret. And work at it. Don't just do them right, do them correctly, and get better at them every day. Okay? So, touched on some things today. Like I said, we got a lot of interviews coming. Throw you a warning out today, right? Coaches, players, games are going to be firing up soon. Okay? Are you working? Are your players working, right? Come March, especially up in the cold weather, March, April, games are going to start flying down south. Games are going to start earlier than that. So let's reverse engineer back, right, and start planning your schedule. Hey, we need to start this, and then this comes that. Start looking at your schedule, start getting ready to go, right? We want to set our players up for success. Players, it's on you too, right? If we're not having team practice and that, it's time to start throwing. Okay, if you've been taking some time off, you've been playing some basketball, this time of year, start getting the arm out. Okay, don't be jumping into it, throwing it hard. Right, we're just starting to get things loosened up, start getting that strength. Let's be doing our, the joke workout, the band workouts, stuff to start taking care of our arm. Start getting it in shape to start throwing. Okay, let's get the bats swinging too. Okay, so that's my warning to you guys. Baseball, softball season's coming, so let's start getting prepared. That wraps up the show today. The down and dirty, in and out, right? Parents, players, if you have questions about anything we talked about or you want some more information, I would love to help, right? Like I said, I feel this was something that has needed to be put out, right? I didn't do this because I necessarily wanted to do this. I felt this was needed bad enough that I needed to step out and do this. Okay, we need people to step up and help out with this because it's going to make our games a whole lot better. Okay, and when I say games, I mean the sports. It's going to help our sports be a whole lot better. All right, so today, like I say, part 3, was the fundamentals. Part 1, okay, was the effort and attitude. Part 2 was the anxiety. Part 3 is your fundamentals. Right? If you get nothing else right as a coach at this age level, let's focus on those 3. Okay, and I guarantee you, as you move up, the coaches are going to really appreciate that because they're going to be able to build off of where you're at, where these kids are coming from, as opposed to starting over at 10, 13, 14, 15 years old, and they're trying to teach them how to throw and how to field. So let's get that out of the way early, and so they just continue to refine it. But hit us up and welcome to the show if this is new for you guys, and thank you if it's you guys have been around with us. So like I say, Clayton Daniels here with The Journey, and I hope your journey's going well. Have a good day.